Lord Grover is fickle and easily swayed. He will need to be convinced of the strength of our position, and that we will support him should it come to war.
I'm going to treat with him myself.
What of Storm's End and Winterfell?
There has never lived a Stark who forgot an oath, and with House Stark, the North will follow.
Hey everyone, I'm back with another House of the Dragon video. Today I'm looking at the Starks, who will be fully introduced in Season 2, and will play an important role moving forward. The Targaryens and the Starks had the most interesting alliance. It began when Torrhen Stark bent the knee to Aegon the Conqueror and went from the king in the north to its warden. Torrhen had led a force of around 30,000 men to the Trident with the intention of going to war. But there he faced a force of close to 45,000, and more importantly, 3 dragons, Balerion, Meraxes, and Vhagar. Torrhen was also well aware of the infamous Field of Fire, where thousands were killed and the entire Gardner house was wiped out. King Loren Lannister was captured there too, and submitted to Aegon, who then permitted him to remain as the Lord of Casterly Rock. Along with the Targaryen successes at Harrenhal and elsewhere in Westeros, Torrhen could see the writing on the wall. There are those, though, that believe that Aegon shared his prophecy with Torrhen Stark, and that was a key factor in him bending the knee. Either way, Torrhen's submission led to an alliance between the two houses that would last 281 years. It would only end when the Mad King executed Ned's father and his brother Brandon, leading him to join Robert Baratheon in his rebellion. In the first episode of House of the Dragon, it's Rickon Stark who pledges his allegiance to Rhaenyra in the throne room at King's Landing after Viserys announced that she would be the heir to the throne. At the time of the Targaryen Civil War, Rickon had passed away, and his son, Cregan Stark, is now Warden of the North. Cregan is going to be one of the most significant, if not most important characters introduced in Season 2, so naturally, the casting for this role is going to be crucial. When we last saw Jace in the Season 1 finale, he was flying north to the Vale and then on to Winterfell. Unlike his brother Lucerys, Jace is embarking upon friendlier territory, where he'll be more well-received, and he also doesn't have the liability of a feud dating back to childhood, like Luke had with Aemon, who harbored deep anger over losing his eye. As you saw in the opening clip, the Starks aren't one to renege on oaths, so he'll be among friends for sure. So who is Cregan Stark, with whom Jace will be meeting? Well, let's go to the book itself, Fire and Blood, and go back to school for a minute and read a paragraph there. In the fullness of time, Cregan Stark would become known as the Old Man of the North, but the Lord of Winterfell was but 1 in 20 when Prince Jacaerys came to him in 129 AC. Cregan had come into his lordship at 13 upon the death of his father, Lord Rickon, in 121 AC. During his minority, his uncle Bernard had ruled the north as regent, but in 124 AC, Cregan turned 16 only to find his uncle slow to surrender his power. Relations between the two grew strained as the young lord chafed under the limits imposed upon him by his father's brother. Finally, in 126 AC, Cregan Stark rose up, imprisoned Bernard and his 3 sons, and took the rule of the north into his own hands. Soon after, he wed Lady Ara Nori, a beloved companion since childhood, only to have her die in 128 AC, while giving birth to a son and heir, whom Cregan named Rickon, after his father. It's interesting because Cregan went through similar struggles to the ones Rhaenyra is currently facing from the Greens, a battle for power against family, for something that is rightfully theirs. At 21, there isn't a huge difference in age between Cregan and Jace. In the book, Jace is 14, but I believe on the show they might have aged him up a bit to be around 16. Another fascinating aspect about Cregan and Jace meeting is what role Aegon's prophecy will play. It's unclear whether Rhaenyra has shared this knowledge passed down to her from Viserys to Jace yet, but what's most intriguing is, what do the Starks know? Is it something that's passed down from generation to generation like the Targaryens have done? I think this is a real possibility. Obviously, this was knowledge that has been lost by the point we reach the Game of Thrones timeline, and only creeps in with tales told by old Nan. It would be compelling to see Cregan and Jace discuss the threat from the north, demonstrating how it has helped to forge a close bond between their two houses through the years. They could even have it that Cregan is the first to reveal the prophecy to Jace, with him assuming that being heir, his mother had already passed the information to Jace. So at only 21, Cregan has already lost his first wife, Ara, who died giving birth to Rickon. Cregan will go on to have 2 more wives and 9 additional children. But at the time he meets Jace, Cregan is widowed. He does have a half-sister, though, Sarah Snow, who I'm assuming they'll cast as well, particularly if they follow the path of the rumors in the book. The next part will contain some mild potential spoilers. I say potential because I'm uncertain they'll put them in the show. But they're also not big things like character deaths or huge plot points. But if you're the type that doesn't even want to hear a scintilla of this sort of stuff, now is the time to bail out. And to those that do, I wish you good fortune in the wars to come. Okay, according to Mushroom's account in Fire and Blood, Jace becomes attracted to Cregan's half-sister, Sarah, and the two sleep together. According to Mushroom, Cregan becomes angry, and when he learns of this, he only calms down when he finds out Jace and Sarah Snow had wed in the Godswood before the Heart Tree. The latter part of this story is highly unlikely. Jace is engaged to Bela, and he doesn't seem to be the type who would rashly marry someone he just met. Although this would be very reminiscent of what Robb Stark did, turning his back on the planned marriage to one of Walder Frey's daughters for someone he loved. Nevertheless, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't work in some sort of relationship between Jace and Sarah, but one that falls short of marriage. One other claim of Mushroom is that Vermax left a clutch of dragon's eggs at Winterfell. As far as we know, Vermax is a male dragon, and there are no other accounts of Vermax laying eggs, unlike a dragon like Syrax. Yet it all does certainly add a certain additional potential mystery to Winterfell. Cregan and Jace signed an agreement that became known as the Pact of Ice and Fire, and in it, Jace promised that his firstborn daughter would one day marry Cregan's son, Rickon. And this agreement is also further evidence that the possibility of Jace marrying Sarah is close to nil. Although I wouldn't be surprised if his visit to Winterfell gives us something a bit off the path for those of us that read the book, in the same way that they played around with Laenor's fate, and instead of having him died, they faked his death. Okay, that's it for this one. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. And if you're interested in more House of the Dragon content, listen to Caraxes and subscribe. I want to thank everyone for watching, and I'll see you soon.